Hello, welcome to the Past Masters series with your painter in residence, M. Francis McCarthy. Now, this is a new series on an old theme. Basically, we started this channel out with the 100 Days of Tonalism project, and then, about 6 months later, I rolled out 25 Days of Tonalism, just because I really love making studies after masters, and there was kind of a bit of a demand. Not a huge demand, mind you, but enough demand. I don't need that much encouragement. And after that, we went rolling directly into 25 Days of Tonalism Volume 2. I've decided, now this would have, and I have been referring to this for the last 4 months probably as 25 Days of Tonalism Volume 3, but it just occurred to me that that doesn't have much of a ring to it. And also, like the guy we're doing today, Arnold Böcklin, he's not a tonalist. He was inspired by the Barbizon guys, though, people like Camille Corot and Theodore Rousseau and people like that. And the other thing, this term tonalism, I'm into it and I love it, and a lot of people in the know what it means, but plenty of others don't. So I think it's just easier for people to refer to it as past masters, studies after the past masters, and that's what we're going to be doing today. And this is actually Friday here in New Zealand, but you'll be getting it on Friday. The rest of the world, I guess, Anyway, this is the spot you normally would have seen a 25 Days of Tonalism post, which we wrapped up last week, and so I'm rolling out the new series, and I hope you really like it. This painting by Arnold Böcklin is pretty neat. Actually, it's based on a painting that he made of the Italian landscape, and it's sort of earlier in his career. He's actually very well known for doing this symbolist work much later, and I absolutely adore his symbolist work. As a matter of fact, there's very few paintings I've seen by Arnold Böcklin that I did not adore. He's actually one of my favorite painters, and this painting had a tonal quality to it, so I felt that it qualified, and I'm very proud actually of my little study. It's a little bit more stuffy, I'd say, than a lot of the other ones I've done studies after. A little more detail, a little bit more of that older traditional feeling. But everyone that's seen it in real life anyway has really liked it, and as a matter of fact, one guy that helps me with some of my art stuff said, "Oh, you should do a much larger version," and that's just not me. I don't do big versions of other people's paintings because I'd rather spend the time doing large versions of my own paintings, but I do get a lot of valuable insight and always added experience whenever I go after doing a study after one of these masters, and that definitely has improved my work immensely. And I mentioned in my last video there's a project I'm working on where I'm going to be touching on some of these things, and I got to stop myself from saying a whole lot about that because I don't want to jinx myself, but I have been let's just say setting time I would have been painting aside in the studio and working on this new project. And I think those of you that like watching these painting demonstrations and stuff are going to be pretty stoked. Anyway, now I am a little behind the 8 ball. I could get into some Wikipedia stuff on Arnold Böcklin, but I guess what I'll say is he was painting in the 1800s, early 1900s. He started out, like I say, being very enamored with and influenced by the Barbizon people, and then he moved on into this later symbolist work. I don't have a lot of biographical details about him, but like I say, I'm kind of actually going to be taking a little trip tomorrow, so This will probably be going up a little later in the day, but I wanted to get the video done so that I wasn't completely scrambling when I got home from my little foray. Actually, I need to go up to one of my galleries and freshen up the wall there. So that would be the gallery at Helena Bay. Very nice gallery here in Northland, New Zealand, and I've been working with them for many years. They're lovely people. And if you, well, heck, if you're out here in New Zealand and you're up in the north, you better look me up. You can come by and see me for sure. I'd love that. Anyway, maybe I'll slip a link into the blog post. Now, I want to point out a lot of you do and have gone to my blog, and what I was doing on my blog is I was always referring you to my website to go to my blog, but that was actually what's called an iframe, which is a way of kind of slipping another site into your site. And I just feel like bloggers getting kind of long in the tooth. There's a lot of things they can't really do for me, and I sort of stayed with them because well, they're owned by Google, you know, so it's a way. Before I was doing much in the way of any kind of marketing, it was just I felt a good way to drive traffic to my blog. Since they own Blogger, that's a really good way to come up in all the Google listings and searches and things. But you know, actually, since I stopped rolling out the essays, I noticed that the traffic on the blog had dropped off. The blog, though, is a great spot to go see. Like, I'll have a higher resolution image of this painting up there, and also some really nice detail shots, which are going to be pretty good because I've got a nice new camera now, so it's taking pretty sharp, crisp pictures. So it's a good way for you to see what that painting might look like if you were there personally and you could get your nose right up against it. Anyway, the blog is now on my site proper. So it is, well, you just go to my website and you click on the word blog and you're going to be there. There is like a little drop down thing if you hover, which would be the new blog. I still got the old blog there underneath, and it's still in that iframe, and you can still go to my website and access it. But I just felt it was time to move everything into my site. And this is actually one of the reasons why I've started the mailing list too. I just want to get people more focused on my site, and having these giant corporations in between myself and the people that follow what I do, it's just not optimal. I don't think it's great. And I found this out when I run into some problems with some videos with YouTube recently, and you know, there's nothing especially egregious or odd about my content. It's a video of a person painting and making some commentary. So but what I really didn't care for is that there is no way to talk to anybody. There is nothing you can do. So if you get on the bad side of Google / YouTube, just tough for you. There's no real recourse, and I want to be able to connect with fans of my work and people that follow my work directly if necessary. So if you haven't joined the mailing list yet, please do so. As a matter of fact, you'll have access to 2 awesome videos at this time that are only available to subscribers to my mailing list. And one is that big fat demo that was up over the weekend, last weekend, that I had to take down, and the other is a board prep demo. And I'm thinking in the near future of doing yet another board prep demo that shows the process I use for the burnt sienna boards that you'll see in quite a lot of videos that I roll out here, especially as I roll out some of my stuff from the archives coming up for the shorter videos that I'm running during the week. So, Arnold Böcklin, Past Masters series. Let me know if you like that name. I think it's pretty cool. I think it's a nice fresh new start for sort of something that I'm really into. Also, you might notice that in all the master studies I've done in the past, they've been on the burnt sienna. This new series, of course, is painted on the burnt umber, and for that reason, some in some cases, I think the works come out looking like, especially I think on this Böcklin piece, I'd be willing to bet you that he was working on some sort of brown, because it's very faithful to his piece. Now, the other thing is, yeah, on the blog, say maybe you like this, you want to make your own little study, you know, I always put the original image that I used for my reference in the blog as well, and that's just so you can see, you know, what the original looked like, because you know, my study's close, but I don't really worry about being exact. That's not the point. It's not like I'm getting paid to make an exact copy after somebody's painting. It's really more of an exercise to try and learn, you know, and this is a very, very valuable way to learn painting, by the way. Not the only way you should learn painting either. I don't recommend just doing nothing but studies after masters. I think, as a matter of fact, go out in the nature, do some plein air painting and drawing. Heck, just even drawing out in nature is really good. If you can't really find time to do that, take some photos and you know, do your best to kind of composite them so that they look like they might make a decent painting, and then take a crack at painting those, you know. You want to kind of spread it out. You want to have a bunch of different things you're doing, so that you don't get too sort of pigeonholed or too tight. And developing your own art is I don't know, it's a special process, and you need to be aware of what you're doing sometimes, and that you can get too into doing the same thing all the time, and I've learned that the hard way. I like to spread it around, and that's one of the reasons why I like to do the master's studies, and it took me quite a while to finish this series. I mean, I'm looking at dates on the back of some of these paintings, and I think I started it in February or March of this year, and this year's almost up, so it took a little while to get it done, but I'm really happy that it is done, and I think you're going to enjoy some of the awesome little studies I've got planned for you. I'm so stoked. Some of them really turned out very well. Also, don't know when, but I'm planning on putting all of these up on Artfinder, so you know, me and Artfinder, we're going to be best friends. That's my plan, and so take a look for that, and I'll make sure and keep that going on the blog. Anyway, see you tomorrow. Meanwhile, please take good care and stay out of trouble.